Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the Esports Broadcasting Network, and most importantly, welcome to the beautiful new Richmond, Wisconsin Speedway, Cedar Lake for the DOB Countryside Stove and Chimney 410 Sprint Car Series. Tonight, I'll be your host, Ryan Williams, joined by executive producer Sam Cooper Bennett, as well as Tony. I don't remember how to say your last name. Tony, introduce yourself to the people.
Trapasso.
Tony Trapasso. Thank you, Tony. But still, introduce yourself to the people that may not know you and tell them how about the exciting action we're about to see here at the Cedar Lake Speedway.
Well, those of you who joined us last week, remember that we were at my home track of the port, Wheatsport Speedway in lovely upstate New York, and we saw a complete barn burner between Cam Merriman and Rusty Kruger just come right down to the wire. Now we come from the tricky 3/8 mile in upstate New York to Wisconsin to a high bank 3/8 mile that these guys are really hauling the mail around here. I'm nothing but short of impressed at the fact that there's less than a second separating everybody that's taken time so far, and that's the 13 guys that have taken time so far in the hot lap session. These guys are just flat getting it on this high bank.
That's exactly right. You're going to see it at tracks like this most of the time during our event tonight. They're going to be running at the very, very top of those high banks, but we could see them take it down low here and there in these heat races and the feature later on. But my money's going to be on seeing pretty much everybody run the top side around this track, and we're seeing some lightning quick fast times so far, even down in the 10-second bracket.
And I'm seeing some of these guys already start to experiment with their lines in the corners as the track's starting to wear in already. Looks like it's starting to get a little bit dry slick down right towards the powder donuts that are half buried in the infield. But some of these guys are already starting to play around with what we commonly refer to up here anyways as the slide job line, where you kind of enter low and just let the car drift out and just bang the cushion on corner exit and let it eat, as Kruger going to be one of the first ones to take time in the qualifying session.
As you just pointed out, I would not be surprised at all if we didn't see many of these fellas end up using the slider line a time or two. But again, Kruger on the track, Jeffrey Stewart on the track, Chris Roberts on the track. A lot of these guys getting out there taking times very early here, as Chris Roberts puts in our first time at a 12.006, but it's instantly beaten by Jeffrey Stewart at 11.756, and there's another fast time for Kruger.
Kruger, first one to dip it sub 11 and a half. Click right on his heels, though, at an 11.48.
That is exactly right. Click faster the second time around. Quick time, Kevin Click, right now at an 11.332 over your current points leader, Rusty Kruger, who's going to stick second quick. Jeremy Zarfos comes in third quick at an 11.67. And other than that, nobody is in that 11.5 or lower bracket besides Kevin Click and Rusty Kruger. And here comes Vinny Sansoni on his first lap, clocking in at an 11.586.
Now, we saw Sansoni work some magic down low at the port last week. Let's see what type of stuff he can do on the low line here. And third quick for Sansoni in the 80 as he calls it a day after 2 laps.
Sansoni's been one of those guys that has been relatively quick all year, was dominant on the bottom line 2 weeks ago at the Williams Grove Speedway, came up a little bit short of a win to Cameron Merriman, who so far tonight I don't see taking a time yet. Merriman should be on the track here very quickly. Winner of 2 straight races in this DOB Countryside Stove and Chimney Sprint Car Series, as we're rolling straight into some heat races.
Not going to get out for the qualifying session, but is going to be placed in a heat race. 3 heat races scheduled to roll off here tonight. First one starting to grid up as we speak.
That's exactly right. Rolling off from the pole in heat race number 1 will be Kevin Click. To his outside, you'll find Vinny Sansoni. Starting third will be Jeremy Zarfos. Fourth will be Jeffrey Stewart. Randy Shreves rolls off 5th, and rounding out your field is the aforementioned Cameron Merriman in car 16.
Now, the big question is, Merriman has gone 2 for 2 so far with his starts in the DOB Countryside Stove 410 Sprint Car Series. Can he go 3 for 3?
Well, he's putting himself off on the back foot early here, not taking a qualifying time, but with a driver with as much potential and skill as Merriman has, I cannot count him out so far. We'll just have to see where the night takes us for driver 16.
And it looks like we've got all 6 drivers slated to roll off in this one as the Chevy Silverado pace truck, the official pace truck of iRacing, starts to roll them off. 2 laps to form up, and then we're going to fire them loose as we are looking 10 laps, sets the first 2 rows. Everybody else is going to qualify in on time. Looks like everybody's going to make the feature tonight as, again, it's 10 laps of scheduled distance in this first heat race.
That's exactly right. A lot of very quick drivers here, and a lot of your front runners for the DOB Countryside Stove and Chimney Points Championship at the end of the year. Sorry, I got caught up on some words there, but Cameron Merriman could be a driver that you want to watch. Vinny Sansoni's up there in points. Jeremy Zarfos is up there in points. Do not take your eyes off of the screen as we come out of turn 4 next time by, because it's on like Donkey Kong.
Green flag is out, and we are underway. As a quick pulls the trigger, and Sansoni already under pressure from the 5 of Zarfos.
That is exactly right. Zarfos sticks to the inside of Sansoni. Going to slide up. No, he's not. Sansoni's going to stick to the outside. Sticks to his guns as we come back down the front straightaway.
Zarfos trying that slide job line already. As you saw him get up in front of Sansoni and cut him off, Sansoni had to change tactics. Sansoni loves that bottom line, and he is making it work right now as he's holding down a strong 3rd place. The battle for 4th really heating up between Stewart and Shreves, though.
That it is Jeffrey Stewart, and I believe that would be Cameron Shreves. Merriman's already gotten past him. So your driver that started out in the 6th position, Cameron Merriman, making some moves here early, working into lap number 5.
Sorry, my timing and scoring was off. So that's Merriman up into the 4th slot already. And Merriman already making quick work up into the 3rd spot. Sansoni back to 4th. Sansoni trying to battle back on that low line. Almost eats the powdered donuts going through 3 and 4 as Merriman bangs the wall.
Those Ute tires can be a pain in the backside very quickly. Merriman rides in 2nd. Zarfos is up there, still in 3rd. Gonna have to make something happen here as we're coming to lap number 8. 3 fingers in the air this time by from the flagman.
Side by side for the lead. That's Click on the high side. Merriman on the low side. Click into the wall.
Big trouble for Click, losing a few spots there. No cautions. Here are the heat races. Bad break for Click. Working into lap number 9. It's Merriman out front.
Merriman with a 1.2 second lead right now as Sansoni has Zarfos all over him right now as Zarfos eats the wall coming off at 2.
That might open the door for Sansoni in turn 3 and 4 for the final time. Sansoni eats a Ute tire on the bottom, and Zarfos going to contain 2nd with Merriman, your winner.
Merriman, Zarfos, Sansoni, Click, your top 4. Stewart and Shreves rounding out your field for heat race number 1. Heat race number 2 already starting to grid up as row 1 is going to see points leader Rusty Kruger. He's going to be joined there with Jesse Brandy. Row 2 sees Kyle Stoltz and Curtis Merriman. Mike Keegan and Nick McCarthy going to start shotgun on the field in row number 3. 6 cars scheduled to roll off in this one, 10 laps of scheduled distance. The only one we're waiting on right now is the 57 of Jesse Brandy to push off.
That's exactly right, but let's take just a second while we wait here and talk about that tremendous heat race number 1 we just witnessed. What a drive from Cameron Merriman from the back to the front. Mama, get that boy. He is on fire.
Absolutely. And that's why he is one of, as we jokingly refer to it in the iRacing sim, he's one of the Black Bumper Brigade. That's somebody with their pro license. So, week in and week out, that man races against the best of the best in the 410 Sprint Car Series on the iRacing servers, and he just showed it right there. Another one of the Black Bumper Brigade is your pole sitter for this race. That's, of course, your points leader, number 5, of Rusty Kruger.
Interesting fact about Kruger coming into this season for the DOB Sprint Car Series, he had stated that he had never won a 410 sprint car race on the iRacing servers, and he came in this year, won 3 in a row, got off to a hot start, and he's trying to get back into victory lane here tonight.
It's quickly becoming the Cam and Rusty show, as those two guys have won everything so far this season. As Pace Truck getting ready to duck on off, Kruger has the button, pulls the trigger, and we are underway for heat race number 2.
It's Kruger off early, gets a hole shot into one, but a battle for second might quickly turn into a battle for first as Bandy and Stoltz and now Merriman and Keegan, they're all under a blanket working into lap number 2.
Absolutely, as Kruger jumps the cushion through 3 and 4, flirting with disaster up there towards that outside retaining wall. Not something you want to do this early.
We saw it bite Kevin Click in the butt last heat race, but so far Kruger's making it work. Still a battle for seconds between Stoltz and Bandy, but Stoltz just continues to have that run off Bandy on the high side, and he contains second here in lap number 4.
That battle for third really heating up between Stoltz, Merriman, and Keegan. That's not good. Stoltz eats the wall. No, that was Bandy. I'm sorry.
That it was Bandy, but luckily able to keep, big contact between Merriman and Bandy. Merriman gives way of it, falls all the way back into the 5th position. McGeethy also caught a little contact. Man, all heck starting to break loose here.
The slide job line not working for Bandy at all. He is got to be hurting that car as Keegan working the high side in the X.
That is exactly right. Keegan working the high side. Bandy not able to get any sort of a run on the bottom. It's Keegan in third. We're on lap 8, coming to lap number 9. This time by, there's going to be popsicle sticks in the air for your leader in the 5, Rusty Kruger.
As Stoltz gets a little sideways coming off of 2, that's going to give Keegan a good run on him on the top side. The battle for 4th, though, between Merriman and Bandy side by side. Merriman's wheelie down the front straightaway in the 71.
One thing we haven't spoken about much this race because it hasn't needed to be mentioned was Rusty Kruger. A 3.1 second advantage, and he wins heat race number 2.
Stoltz just barely able to hang on for second. Keegan for third. Merriman 4th. Bandy dropping all the way back to 5th. And McGeethy, and I just lost my results, coming home in 6th as heat race number 3 starting to grid up.
What an impressive display of dominance there from Rusty Kruger. Let's see if heat race number 3 will live up to the hype. Rolling off on your pole will be the 27 of Brad Lamberson. Outside of him, you see Joe Quinn, and we go back to the next row where you'll find Jake Greenwood alongside Michael Sheridan. And then your last row on the track, we'll see Chris Roberts in the 93 alongside Jeff Fitzpatrick in the number 10 car.
Heat race number 3 starting to roll off behind the Chevy Silverado Pace Truck, the official Pace Truck of iRacing. Thanks, Nim. As, again, 10 laps of scheduled distance for this one. 6 cars on the track right now. All 18 cars will make the A-main, but stick around, folks. You're not going to want to miss a single moment of action, because after this, we are going to have the 6-gun shootout.
Those are in every event that I go to, real life or sim racing. Those are some of the most entertaining parts of a night, is those 6-gun shootouts, the 6-shooter dashes, whatever you want to call them. They all have the same premise, and they are not going to disappoint here tonight. Some of the best 410 sprint car drivers in the entire iRacing servers are in this server right here tonight, and you guys picked a good broadcast to tune into.
And we're getting word from the pits. Jeff Fitzpatrick could not get that number 10 fired. Bad Magneto on the 10. Hopefully he'll be able to make it back for the A-main. Green flag comes out, and we are underway as Lamberson pulls the trigger. Quinn right there with him on the high side, though.
Lamberson took the whole shot into turn number 1. We got a battle for second between Quinn and Greenwood. They're going to be neck and neck at the line. Give it to Quinn that time by as he holds down second.
Greenwood a little bit loose, and that's going to cost him. Running that low line, Sheridan all over him right now, trying to make it happen for the number 3 spot. As Sheridan, with a good run off of 2, gets the run off of 4, gets the clear, and we've got a new podium.
That we do, and so far in this race, you see your leader, Brad Lamberson. He's doing something different than the previous 2 race winners have done. He is persistent on running the bottom. And right now it might be coming back to bite him as you see Quinn on the outside. Get a run down the front straightaway. Lambertson pulls up limp.
He had to chase it down the track. He got into the real slick stuff and lost every ounce of momentum on that car. And that is going to do it. It looks like he may have eaten the powdered donuts as the 43 bangs the wall coming off at 2.
So now that appoints new race leader Joe Quinn, who every now and then it's nice to be handed one, and he's been handed one here. He's got 4 laps to seal the deal here in heat race number 3. It's Quinn out front.
Quinn, Greenwood, Sheridan, and Roberts. The running order right now as these top 3 of Quinn, Greenwood, and Sheridan are really starting to stretch their legs. Chris Roberts not having the night he was hoping for as he is 2.5 seconds off the pace right now.
That's exactly right. And you have another driver dusting off the bottom of the track right now. It's Michael Sheridan. He's going to try to work some magic on the low side. Greenwood's looking for a run up top if he can get one. Just can't find anything substantial as we come to the white flag.
Flirting with disaster on that high line. The Larson line going to come into effect before this night is over. As Sheridan bangs the wall, checkered flag is out. Quinn going to hold on for the win. Greenwood coming home in second. Sheridan for third. Roberts, the last car, still running in fourth.
What an absolutely amazing sets of heat races we just witnessed. Some of the best racing action you're going to find on the entire iRacing server right here with the DOB 410 Sprint Car Series.
Absolutely. As the shootout getting ready to come on out of the pits right now, as those guys starting to grid up in the pits. As soon as we get the names of who's going to be in that, they're calling those guys to grid right now. So bear with us a second here. But how about what we've seen in the heat race action so far? Cam Merriman looking to go 3 for 3. Started shotgun on the field in his heat race. Did not post a time in qualifying. Didn't really get a good time in the hot lap session. And just walked away with that one.
That's exactly right. See, we had 3 different heat races there, and all 3 races went very, very differently. You had Merriman showing his dominance coming from back to front, but you had Kruger starting up front and opening up a 3.5-second lead before the end of the race. And then that last race, that tough break for, I believe it was Lamberson, yes, and you had Quint pass him up. 3 very different races, but all tremendously entertaining.
Absolutely, as it looks like the shootout getting ready to grid on up right now. We've got a couple of names starting to trickle in as they are calling them out right now.
It looks like the people we should see, the 6 cars we should see, would be Cameron Merriman, Jeremy Zarfos, Rusty Kruger, Mike Keegan, Joe Quinn, and Jake Greenwood. They're all currently picking out their number of where they'll start in the dash. They have a redraw before their dash, and they're currently getting all that settled before they hit the track.
And looks like Greenwood going to be starting in the number 4 slot. So starting up on the points going to be Jeremy Zarfos. Cam Merriman going to be starting next to him. Row 2 is going to see Joe Quinn and the aforementioned Jake Greenwood. And then starting shotgun on the field, your points leader, Rusty Kruger, and he's going to be joined with Mike Keegan starting shotgun on the field. 6 cars, 6 laps. Pull the belts tight, boys. It's about to get fun.
It's almost showtime once again here from Cedar Lake, and this one's going to be interesting to see if Merriman or Kruger can make a couple of passes here and continue to start up front in these races. I believe we are very close to coming to green here for this 6-lap dash as well. All these guys lightning quick. It's going to be entertaining to see who can come out on top here.
Looks like we're getting ready to turn them loose next time by. So coming off of 4, leader can fire it off, and it fires it off coming off of 2. So here we go. 6-gun shootout already underway, and we've got a real battle heating up for 3rd.
That's exactly right. It looks like we've got Zarfos, Kruger on the top, getting around Zarfos. Up front, you've got Merriman and Greenwood. Greenwood looking for a run as Merriman just threw a slider, but not much of a run for Greenwood. Merriman leads here
Merriman flirting with that slide job line, trying to block off any attempt to get a run on that top side. But he's flirting with banging the wall every time. He's already brushed it a couple of times. Nothing too difficult or too damaging to bend that Watts link that's holding the rear axle straight. But he's definitely putting it out there. As right now, Rusty Kruger battling with, I believe yes it is, that's Greenwood in the 43s. Greenwood, oh!
For Greenwood! Up and over sky ground he goes. White flag is out for your leader, Cameron Merriman. Tough break there for Jake Greenwood, though.
Get the backup car out. The last thing I remember, Doc, was dirt sky, pretty EMT.
That's exactly right, and that is exactly what Jake Greenwood saw there. Man, for his sake, I just hope he's not playing in VR here tonight.
Yeah, because that's definitely a vomit can moment.
That it very much is. And it looks like the rest of the field will come out here and take some of these warm-up laps. And while they do, we here at ESPN would like to remind everybody that tonight's broadcast of the DOB 410 Sprint Car Series is brought to you by diecastnuts.com. Post your own diecast collection, add to it, trade in the shop, and see other members' collections at diecastnuts.com. And you can also find them on Facebook at diecastnuts. We are also sponsored by Rocket Racing Setups. Rocket Racing Setups is one of the leading setup builders for the iRacing community. Find dirt and asphalt setups, tuning guides, fuel sheets, and much more at rocketracingsetups.com today. And the DOB 410 Sprint Car Series is brought to you by Countryside Stove and Chimney of Central New York, ABR Setup Shop, Design, Metal Art, and Butt Kicker. Thank you to all of their great series sponsors as well.
Absolutely. Without the help of those sponsors, we could not bring you the action that you're seeing here week in and week out, night in and night out. So thank you to all the sponsors throughout the league and for our broadcast partners as well. Hot Lap sessions getting ready to wind on down right now as, am I seeing this right? It's a 20-minute warm-up?
That's what it says. I don't believe that they'll run the entire warm-up session, but lots of fast guys here. Merriman still has his fastest time from when they ran that 6-shooter dash, but a lot of guys here put in some lightning quick laps. Joe Quinn, Kyle Stoltz, Michael Sheridan, they all could play a huge factor in the feature event that'll roll off here momentarily.
Now this is going to be the last chance these guys are going to be able to get to see what the track is starting to do and make their adjustments to their suspension, shock and spring packages and, different whatnots, bobs and barbles, as my mom used to call it. But, this is going to be the last chance these guys are going to be able to get to adjust on their cars before we turn them loose for the wow.
Oh, big lick there. Big lick there, but ladies and gentlemen, it is finally time for your 36-lap feature event. And as we bring up the lineup here, it'll go as follows. Rolling off on the pole in the number 16 machine, it'll be Cameron Merriman. And to his outside in the 5, you'll find a Rusty Kruger.
Joe Quinn and Jeremy Zarfos are going to roll off in row number 2.
Rolling off 5th, it'll be Mike Keegan. To his outside, you'll find Jake Greenwood in the 6th position.
Vinny Sandstone going to roll off from the number 7 slot. He's going to be joined in row number 4 with Kyle Stoltz.
Next row back, you'll find Michael Sheridan in the 15. Alongside him will be Kevin Click in the number 25 machine.
Curtis Merriman is going to be joined with Chris Roberts in row number 6.
And next row back, you'll find Jeffrey Stewart and Jussie Bandy.
Brad Lamberton and Randy Shreves is going to see row number 8.
And starting in your shotgun row on the field in the number 73, you'll find Nicholas McGeethy. And if he's able to make the call, starting 18th, you'll find the 10 of Jeff Fitzpatrick.
Just received word Fitzpatrick is up in the race control booth tonight.
Okay. And other interesting things coming about here. Cameron Merriman will start from the rear end of the field here tonight.
So taking the bounty, going to the tail end of the field, it's going to hand the button over to Kruger. So he just made his night a whole lot tougher because, Merriman he's good, but as quick as this track is starting to dry out, he just made his night a whole lot tougher.
And if I was anybody in this league, the last person that I would want to give the lead to would be Kruger, as I don't believe we're going to start here. We're going to take one more lap under the caution here. You may see a green flag flying, but we are not green just yet.
The only thing that's left to do is pull the belts tighter one more time, take one more tear off as the field starts to form up down the back straightaway, and it's time to Grandpa, Papa Viagra, because it's time to get it on for the DOB 410 Sprint Car Series. Green flag comes out, coming out of turn number 4. Kruger relieves him to green, gets a great jump as Keegan working the inside going into turn number 2.
That's exactly right. Big battle between Keegan and Zarfos. As this track is getting slicker and slicker, that bottom will come back in. It's Kruger leading lap 1, and the bottom is working down there for Keegan currently.
Keegan in the X trying to make it happen. We got heavy contact coming through the field. That looked like the 80 of Sansoni getting into it with, I believe that was Stoltz in the 01.
That'll be Click, Sansone, and I believe Stoltz back there. They were 3 wide for a moment. They're 3 wide once again. Back there battling for about the 7th position. What a race we got going on.
Kruger jumps the cushion. That's going to give Keegan a good run on him on the inside. And here comes the 5 of Zarfos again. Zarfos up into second, gets a great run on that cushion as Kruger jumps the cushion again through 3 and 4.
One thing that's not really happening that you would have thought is Kruger's not so far running away with this thing. It only has a 0.1 second advantage, so Kruger not able to run away from the field like he has in the past.
Absolutely not. And Merriman still running shotgun on the field, not being able to pick his way through traffic like he was hoping.
Cameron Merriman is up to the
I was looking at the wrong
position.
Merriman.
That's right. We've got 2 Merrimans, Curtis and Cameron. Cameron showing his guns right now all the way up to the 5th, making it the 4th position. Last time by at the line. What a drive out of Cameron Merriman, doing Ohio proud here tonight.
Merriman on the button as Greenwood bangs the wall coming off a 2. That's going to let Zarfos get a little bit of breathing room as he's still running that low line in the 5.
That's exactly right. We might have a battle for the lead here very soon. Zarfos is still within closing distance of Rusty Kruger. Cameron Merriman, he'll be there soon. This thing could heat up before he gets done.
Merriman looks like he might be struggling a little bit as he just picked up a little bit of time there as he's finally clear of Keegan. Wow. Zarfos tried to take down the turn 2 wall.
A very, very sketchy game here trying to navigate the Cedar Lake Speedway, but right now Cameron Merriman is doing just that. He is up to the 3rd position, make it the 2nd position. Last time by at the line, he's working the reverse slider line from top to bottom in turns 1 and 2, all the way around the top in turns 3 and 4, and he's gaining ground on Rusty Kruger.
Kruger, for his credit, keeps jumping that cushion going through 3 and 4, flirting with disaster every time he does it. And Merriman's breathing down his neck as they're starting to get some daylight between themselves and 3rd place runner Jeremy Zarfos in the 14. Ooh, contact.
Huge jump of the cushion there for a Kruger as Merriman and Kruger make contact, battling for the lead. Merriman's going to have the inside. Are we going to see a slider? Not this time. Merriman gives way to Kruger on the outside, but he might be setting him up perfectly here for this next lap, working into lap number 18.
Gets the run off a 2 and bangs the wall. And Kruger's into the wall. Merriman to the point.
Like we've stated all night long, it is a very, very treacherous game navigating the Cedar Lake Speedway, and right now all these drivers are proving that to be a fact. But look at that, ladies and gentlemen, from back to front, new leader, it's Cameron Merriman working into lap number 20 of 35.
And Kruger might have some damage with as hard as he hit that turn 4 wall. That car is not handling the same way that it was as he's starting to fall back into the clutches of Jeremy Zarfos.
He very well could have a good bit of damage. It looks like Merriman's going to be coming up on some lap traffic. That'll be the other Merriman in this field. Curtis Merriman in the 71 is going to have to let Cameron by on the outside. Curtis staying nice and slow on the inside, not going to give him any trouble.
Gentleman racer just trying to stay out of the way right now as Merriman, Kruger, Zarfos, your top three, is Zarfos with a 2-second lead over fourth place Mike Keegan. And yellow flag is out.
Yellow flag did wave. It looked like, from my perspective, it was the 43 machine of Jake Greenwood. If I could get some confirmation on that, I did
Correct.
see that car stuck up in the pit exit. So tough break for Jake Greenwood.
Yeah, he just caught more airtime than a skateboard at the X Games.
Did one of those jump the wall, land in the pit exits?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, that was Click that we saw really air one out. But so 22 laps in the books of 36. We're going to rack them, stack them, and pull it again. Is Cam Merriman, as you mentioned earlier, from the back to the front and back to the front again, as he now has to deal with Kruger. The question is, now that Zarfos has a clean shot at Kruger, is he going to be able to do anything with it? Is the field starting to form up, coming off of turn number 4? They're going to be able to pull the trigger next time by. Merriman's going to be able to go anytime between the middle of turn 3 and the exit of 4 when the green flag actually comes out.
That's exactly right. As you see your leader, Merriman, fire. Green flag out once again. Kruger has a decent run to his backside, but it's Merriman with a whole shot coming out of turn number 2. He's got about a 5-car length advantage. The next battle back is for the 3rd and 4th position between Zarfos and Keegan.
If they had rearview mirrors on sprint cars, he'd have that rearview mirror filled with Keegan right now, Sansoni right there, Quinn right there. Throw a blanket over those 4 guys.
That's exactly right. These guys putting on an absolute monster of a show here at the Cedar Lake Speedway from about position 4 to about position 10. These guys 3 and 4 wide on the racetrack. What a battle we have going on.
Zarfos eats the wall. Keegan threw a slider on him last time. 3 wide coming off for turn number 2.
It was Sansoni on the bottom, Keegan above him. Sansoni trying to make that bottom line work, just not enough for him as he gives way to Keegan once again. Zarfos kind of stretching out for these guys in 3rd.
Meanwhile, Merriman really starting to stretch his legs. 2 seconds to the good over points leader Rusty Kruger. Zarfos starting to get a little bit of breathing room between himself and Mike Keegan as Keegan's dealing with Vinny Sansoni right now. Sansoni really starting to make that bottom line work. It's starting to come back in as the laps start to wind down.
Just as you say that, he changes up his mind and works the high side of the racetrack, but he's hit the wall twice since he's decided to do it. Sansoni might need to go live and die by the Ute tires at the bottom of the track as that outside is coming back to bite him in the butt here, working lap number 30.
At one of the tracks like this, you've got to either flirt with the wall or you got to flirt with the powdered donuts. You got to decide whether you want to be a fat boy or a flat boy. And right now, everybody looks like they want to be a flat boy.
That's exactly right. But sometimes the wall is much better to hit than those powdered donuts at the bottom, and these guys are proving that point here. Cameron Merriman right now stretched out to a 2.772-second lead over Rusty Kruger.
As Zarfos keeps eating the wall, and he gets caught up coming off a 2, that's going to let Keegan get a run on it. Keegan to the low side through 3 and 4.
Keeping an eye on that battle, Keegan has the advantage right now over Zarfos, I believe. He's coming up to the backside of Zarfos, actually. Keegan scratching, clawing to try and pick up that 3rd position before this thing's all said and done.
With the point season starting to wind down, every point counts, and getting on the podium tonight would definitely help Mike Keegan's points championship hopes.
It would help Zarfos as well. As we came around that time, we saw 2 fingers in the air. So you know what that means. White flag will be presented to Cameron Merriman this time by.
Merriman with almost a 4-second lead over Rusty Kruger. Kruger brings it off of 2 That battle for third, still hot and heavy. Merriman getting the checkered flag, and one final shot. Keegan on the low side, not going to make it happen. Zarfo's hanging on for third.
What?
And Sansoni eats the pit in wall.
What an entertaining feature event we saw there. Cameron Merriman forced to start back in the, I believe, 16th or 17th position, all the way at the tail end of the field, and he was able to round out the entire field and pass them all in his number 16 machine for yet another win, his third in a row here with the DOB 410 Sprint Car Series.
So far this season, we've seen two drivers, both of whom have their iRacing sprint dirt oval pro licenses, win 3 in a row. Can anybody stop Cameron Merriman and Rusty Kruger this season?
Well, that just goes to really show you how much of a different level some of these guys are on, these pro-level drivers. They can get in absolutely anything and wheel and deal and win. Absolutely,
and with the different track combinations that we've seen, there are no two dirt tracks in iRacing that are the same. And iRacing got it right, as close to right as they could possibly get it with modern technology. You know, with a track like Weedsport last week that goes dry slick very quickly, this track still had some good bite in it, even at mid-race. So, you know, the fact that iRacing has the different track dynamics as the night wears on, and these guys are able to adapt so quickly and so proficiently, it's nothing short of just awe-inspiring.
That's exactly right. Moving right along, we're going to get right into a word with our feature winner here tonight, Mr. Cameron Merriman. Cameron, it's Ryan from ESPN. You got a copy, buddy?
Hey, good evening. Got a copy.
Yes, sir. That was an absolutely electric run from you in that feature event. Yeah, we're forced to start all the way in the back, but you somehow scratched, clawed, fought your way past everybody and took her home in victory lane.
Yeah, that was an awesome race. You know, felt really hooked up all night. I spent a lot of time building setups here for the Pro Series that ran a few months ago, just prior to Christmas. And, you know, one of the things that I built there just seemed to really hook up tonight, and I just stuck with it. And, you know, when you kind of work around people and the car feels like it's agile and can move around lanes, you know, as long as you can anticipate what the guy in front of you is doing, it's not a simple task, but it's very doable to be able to come back through the field, you know. So it was a great drive, and, you know, I was really happy that, you know, 10 or 12 laps in, I had put myself in the top 5, and I knew at that point that I had the pace to at least put myself in a position to be competitive and race with those guys. And I think that kind of my line selection down the road, at least in the latter half of the race, was definitely the dominant line around. I'm not sure if many other people were running it, but yeah, it felt like it was on rails tonight.
And coming into this race, you had run 2 races with this series so far this year, and you won both of them, and this making your third. Moving along in the season, how do you continue to establish yourself as one of the front runners for a points championship here with the DOB Sprint Car Series?
Yeah, good question. You know, it's just coming in each week with a level head. I never get myself wrapped up in the points or looking at the standings. I take it on a track by track basis, and you know, there's some tracks that I feel really confident about. Maybe about half on the circuit I feel really strongly about. The other half I really got to work to be competitive at them. So Cedar Lake is one of my strong points, so felt good tonight. But others, you know, got to go in and understand that caliber of drivers is very high, and be able to give them the proper level of respect, and just understand, you know, how the track line developments are going to work out, what you need to do with the car setup to give yourself an opportunity to be able to be racy and not confine yourself to a single line, to be able to adapt to what the track is going to do. So in that respect, you know, just take it week by week, and I'm sure I'll be there come the end.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. Now, before we let you get out of here and celebrate for a third week in a row, who would you like to thank on the race car? Who's helping you out in your sim racing career?
I'd just like to thank, you know, actually my pops is Curtis Merriman was in the race tonight, and he and I are always hanging out and chatting, and this is one of the ways that we get to spend time together, so it's awesome to be able to do that. But obviously I'd like to thank Chris Roberts and the Dirty Old Bastards crew and all the sponsors who make this happen. Obviously you guys up in the booth putting on a great broadcast for the fans and for friends and family that I can show, you know, what I get doing on Thursday nights. it's always a joy to be able to have you guys up there calling the show. So appreciate you guys very much.
One more thing, I'm about to let you go here, but does it give you any sort of bragging rights with your dad that you put him a lap down here tonight?
Well, I mean, we came into iRacing. Let me think. Maybe about early 2018, and dirt had already been a thing by then. I actually grew up on the eastern shore of the U.S., like Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, driving micro sprints, and had a very short tenure in full-size sprint cars before I decided to go to college. So I have a bit more experience than my dad. My dad was crew chiefing for me back then. So ever since we've been in the sim, he's kind of been on the back foot. So whenever he gets to start in front of me in a feature race or start in front of me in a heat race or lay down a quicker lap than I do, it's more like he's the one with bragging rights, and I'm the one that's always got to have the edge on him to be able to say anything about it. So it's definitely I get chatting with my dad, and he'll say, Cam, you're coming up on me, and it's just a good time to be able to run side by side with my pops. So no bragging rights for there in particular, but it's a good time to be able to race with a little.
Well, that's one of those amazing things in the world of racing. Once again, congratulations, Cameron Merriman, on another win here tonight with the DOB 410 Sprint Car Series.
Yes, thank you very much.
So next person up will be your second place finisher here tonight. Won 3 in a row earlier this year. I believe Mr. Tony Trapasso, you'll be having a word with Mr. Rusty Kruger.
Rusty Kruger, you had a hell of a heat race. Weren't able to really seal the deal tonight in the feature. We did see you struggling a little bit with that cushion going through 1 and 2. How much damage did you sustain from those wall brushes flirting with the cushion up there?
I think the car was a little bit fine. I didn't think I hit it that hard. I mean, if you hit it in 3 and 4, you might be a little as well. But I think 1 and 2, there's a little bit of mounds that kind of protect you. But I was just trying to drive my tail off to catch Cam. I mean, he was in a whole different zip code. I think I need new numbers on my race car now after he went by.
Yeah, but we saw you guys put on some hellacious battles there for quite a few laps. Now, the 3/8 miles haven't been as favorable to you. Moving forward to next week, you've got to be looking forward to opening this thing back up.
Where are we going next week? I'm not sure.
Knoxville.
Oh, okay. Another track for Cameron to spank us at, huh?
Well, no, come on. On the 5/8 miles earlier in the season, you pretty much ate everybody's lunch.
Cam wasn't at those shows, but yeah, we'll give it our best shot. I mean, he drove a hell of a race. I did my best to try and keep up with him, but second felt like it was a whole lap behind. I mean, so I guess we'll be back to the drawing board.
Well, now I'm looking at the track conditions right now, and the track looks pretty shiny. How slick did it get towards the end there?
I'd say about, for me, not the best throttle control in the world. It's probably about half throttle all the way around. It was basically an ice rink out there.
So you got to be looking forward to getting to some place where you can kind of let the car eat a little more as we move to the home of sprint car racing and the Sprint Car Hall of Fame next week in Knoxville, Iowa.
Oh, yeah, definitely looking forward to it. And looking forward to getting to the old virtual ding.
Well, Rusty, I dare say that you're probably still going to come out of here with the points lead, although Cameron Merriman's starting to creep in there, even though he did miss a few races. But you've got to be proud of the season you've been able to put together so far. I don't think you finished off the podium yet this season.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we had that little anomaly at Williams Grove, but thankfully, I think this series still has drop weeks, so we're able to bird one right away. I didn't prefer to do it that way, but we'll be able to use one of those and hopefully keep this run up top 3 finishes along and try and minimize the damage that Merriman seems to be putting out every week.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank?
The boys over at Speed Lab and Slick Sim Sport, they put out the best setups in the world and doesn't cost me a dime unlike certain setup shops, but that's a whole different story. And got to thank Jake Swanson Shock Technologies and Viral Moto and Fastsport Media. All
right. Well, Rusty Kruger, again, congratulations on another podium, and best of luck to you in the remainder of the season.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
So that was your second place finisher, Rusty Kruger. Now coming into the booth with us will be your third place finisher in the number 14, Mr. Jeremy Zarfos. Jeremy, an interesting road for you tonight. You got challenged early and often by Mike Keegan and Vinny Sansone, but towards the end of the race, you were able to sort of spread your legs away from them and come home with a nice, clean third place finish here tonight.
Yeah, I can't complain with that at all. That was a lot of fun. I wasn't sure what to expect. I haven't been racing a whole lot lately, and just went out there and just kind of instincts and let it rip.
The track towards the end of the race seemed to slick over a whole heck of a lot. What changed in your game behind the wheel from the start of the race to the end of the race, trying to battle with the track conditions?
This place is a little different than some. I think it's just absolute trash when it slicks over, and it's really fun. So you're just kind of hanging on, trying to not hit the wall like I did every, 3 feet, it seemed like. Trying not to get yourself turned out over turn one, trying to get to the top to keep some momentum up. I knew after that late caution, Mike was going to be all over me. He's really good late there. I kind of wanted to see go green because I think I had a pretty good gap on him there. Rusty and I kind of pulled away. Well, Cam's on another planet. He's an alien. But Rusty and I think, had pulled away from Mike a little bit. They were battling. But I don't know. It's really not that much fun when it slicks off. That early in the race was a blast. You could move around. You could do things, slider line or run the top 3 and 4 or go to the bottom if you had to. But late in that race, it's just hanging on.
Yeah, and if you saw there the live timing and scoring, your battle with Mike Keegan, it was only 6/100ths of a second between you guys. Now, going into next week, we've got the sprint car capital of the world, Knoxville Raceway. You're taking a third place finish here from 11th in points. You're going to gain some points here. Put yourself in a nice battle with the rest of these guys. How are you feeling about the next couple of weeks, especially next week at Knoxville?
I don't know. I forget what Knoxville looks like. It's been a while. But the other week I took a second or whatever place home at Williams Grove, and it got taken from me. Still not thrilled about that. That was going to be a great points night. I missed last week. I have 18-month-old twins, so if it's not bedtime for them, it's not race time for me. So, I did kind of commit to running this whole season, and I've already missed a few races. But I think every night I have potential to run top 5, top 3 potentially. So it's really just, get through qualifying, get through the heat, try to get in the dash for these 410s. And I've been pretty competitive. I just got to stay consistent and finish up front, and it'll take care of itself.
Well, you've certainly been lightning quick in every broadcast that I've been a part of this sprint car series so far. Before we let you go and probably head to bed here tonight, who are some of the people you want to thank on the race car for helping you with your iRacing career?
Yeah, sure. The Brent Marks Racing Sim team, I've been with those guys for a long time. It's a fairly new team in the scheme of iRacing, but with Kevin Click and Mike Sheridan, Kyle Keene, Mark Broderick, and those guys, Skylar Brown, we've been together as a group for a long time, so we bounce things off each other, and we all have been around a long time. So those guys are vital to kind of what we do. I'll take credit for Kevin Click's quick time. I told him the line. I couldn't hit it. It worked out for him. But, all the Brent Marks guys, all the Brent sponsors that make it go around for him, because it's more about him than us. And catch him on Flow Racing this weekend. Or no, I'm sorry, Dirt Vision. They're the Outlaws. They're in Louisiana or Mississippi, and I don't know. They're traveling around the South. So check out Dirt Vision. And thank Chris and you guys for putting this on. Love that these are broadcasted. It's a ton of fun to get up here and do an interview now and then. It's just kind of cool deal. So thanks, guys.
Yes, sir. It absolutely is. Congratulations once again, Jeremy, on your third place run here tonight. So in conclusion, a fantastic race here from the Cedar Lake Speedway. Everything kind of slicked off. Some drivers loved it. Some drivers hated it. Tony, before we get into our closing comments, you got anything you want to add to that?
No, just I've been nothing short of impressed with everything that I've seen from the DOB, Countryside, Stove, and Chimney 4-time sprint car series. The 2 weeks that I've been able to join the booth for these broadcasts. These guys put on an amazing show week in and week out. Tell your friends about it. Tell your neighbors about it. And don't forget that we are very quickly inching towards the the point in subscriberhood where Sam Cooper Bennett and I are both going to have to get the ESPN logo tattooed somewhere on our person. Still trying to talk Sam into getting a tramp stamp, but he seems to be adamantly against that. But
not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, share, turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single race here on the ESPN family of networks, because we've got a ton of stuff coming up for the remainder of the week. Tomorrow night, Circle B diecast from Daytona. Saturday, Sim Racers Edge at Kentucky. And Sunday is Majors with the Lotus 79 at Long Beach. I know that if I'm not going to be in the booth for that one, I am definitely going to be watching that one, because the Lotus 79s anywhere is nothing short of a fun time.
They absolutely will be. I cannot wait to either watch or call that broadcast. But you've gone over pretty much what we need to go over here as we're wrapping up. Again, great racing, and you can find it all again here next week with the DOB Countryside Stove and Chimney 410 Sprint Car Series from the Knoxville Raceway right here on the Esports Broadcasting Network. So, for executive producer Sam Cooper Bennett, Mr. Tony Trapasso, and myself, Ryan Williams, we bid you a goodbye and a good night here from ESPN.